This is a very famous Japanese role-playing game called Persona 5, and unlike other RPG games before, the character in this game do not need to fight with enemies with their own body. They can fight with enemies with using their physical manifestation of their psyche called persona. And you can see that the persona is very different from the character themselves because they will have original status. Like for Joker, he is a high school student, but you can see his persona looks very different. So actually, the designer puts a lot of emphasis on the character's superficiality and double-sidedness. So actually, this character can shift his personality from this mood to this mood. And actually, persona is a real theory that proposed by Carl Jung. People may choose to wear a social mask or persona in order to appear more social desirable. It makes sense because nobody is perfect, but all of us will have some character defects in some ways, but we always want to show the perfect side to others. So it's important for us to learn how to deal with our character defect. So here comes the topic of today, to embrace your character flaws. So let's begin with my own character. So as you can see, my MBTI is ISTP, and you can see from these 4 indicators is pretty much alike. But for the introverted, I got a rate of 90%. It's very high, but actually I've already made a big progress this year because the last year result is 92%. So you can see I've already got a very good progress. So I will talk about 2 very embarrassing stories about my childhood. And the first story has happened when I was about grade 4, grade 5, and I was in the teacher's office. I can't remember clearly what I was doing at the time, but what I can still remember after so many years is that the office telephone suddenly rang, and the teacher asked me to help him to pick it up. And it was the first time I was asked by a stranger to answer a phone call from another stranger. So I was totally overwhelmed at the time. And so I picked up the phone and said, "Sorry, the teacher is not here right now. Sorry," and then straight up to hang it up. So you can imagine that the teacher is a little bit angry with me, but more like confused. So I was always thinking that if I was more experienced in socializing, I may be to deal with that task more easily. And the second story has happened in my junior high when I was about 14 or 15 years old. I got a chance to attend a summer camp in Beijing because of my good grade. And one afternoon, my class teacher called me over and told me to go upstairs and find teacher Li Jun. She told me that he will be the leader of this camp activity, so you can find him to further information. I was a little bit freaked out by this request because upstairs is a totally unknown area for me at that time, full of senior teacher's office. And you know, unknown means that I cannot plan everything well in advance, and there must be many surprises. So I went upstairs and hovered in front of the teacher's office for a long time and imagined all the situations that might happen. And finally, after a long time of hesitation, I finally got up my courage and pushed the door and went in and asked, "Excuse me, is teacher Zhang Jun here?" And a student inside answered me that, "Who? There's only Li Jun here." So you can imagine how embarrassed I was at that time. And the student told me that teacher Li Jun is at the stadium right now and playing table tennis with other teachers. So I spent an even longer period of time hovering inside of this door of the stadium, just trying to find a proper timing to interrupt the games. So after I've done all this, it was already dark outside. So let's continue. So after these two stories, whenever I think about the past of my past experience, I often feel, is there really no any exaggeration about my memory? How can I get bothered by such an easy task? So, but I can't change that. So, after that, my class teacher may notice that I was too introverted. So she put me at the same table with the PE representative of my class. But apparently this method doesn't work very well. And my introversion continuously bothers me before I went into my college. So when I was in senior high, I formed a tiny group with another girl in my class so that we wouldn't be alone if we had to do some group task or need to participate in some activities. So it's some kind of like darts, we will say today. Yes. But things started to change when I went into college. I gradually found that my introversion is gradually affecting me less and less. And I think this may be the result of a combination of factors. First, your courage will grow with your age. Actually, it's a change that it's a natural change, but it's hard to notice. Because take myself as an example. When I was about grade 2, I will find that the students of grade 5 or grade 6, they are very hard to get socialized. But when I grow up as the same age of them, I will find that the students from even higher grade, like the junior high or senior high, I will find they are very hard to approach too. So the conclusion is that I found that maybe it's hard for us to socialize with people that had a much higher age than us. But after we all became adults, this kind of pressure that comes from the age gap will reduce, because it's hard to tell our age gap, the difference of our age by the appearance. And the second reason is that I think for most people, our social ability can be cultivated over time. Because in primary school or high school, the environment around us is fixed, and our daily routine is fixed, and the people we will contact with every day is also fixed. So we hardly can get any chances to practice our social ability or social skills. But things will change after we went to college, because college is like a completely different environment with lots of activities and a lot of organizations. So we will have a lot of opportunities to fully develop our social ability. And the third reason, and I think is the most important one, is that people are supposed to be different. It means there is not an absolutely right character. What we need to do is to realize this difference and to better accept ourselves. I think it's no need for us to change our original characteristic. All we need to know is to learn how to act well in certain occasions. Actually, my best friend with me he has a totally different characteristic as me, but it never bothers me from making friends with her or from being happy with our lives. Yes. And I will introduce a theory of dramaturgy that was proposed by Irving Goffman. This theory told us that society can be divided into front stage and backstage, In front stage, people will go for the role they wish to portray, and in the backstage, people will hide the side that they don't want others to find. And for me, debate is like my front stage. In college, I joined my school's debate team and made some success and finally became the vice captain. So, many of my team members was quite shocked when after the competition, I would talk, after the success, I would told them that I'm actually very introverted. They're all very surprised because on the stage, in order to get success, I will show the aggressive side of myself. Yes, and you can see that it's the exact word from my friends. How can there be an introvert in the debate team? But actually, according to the dramaturgy, I can act like exactly a different person in the front stage. For me, it's the debate stage. And another example is Warren Buffett. We will usually think that people who are successful in the business world must be very outgoing and need to be very communicative. But however, Warren Buffett is a well-known introverted businessman. In public, he will act no difference between other businessmen. But in the backstage, in his personal life, he spends a lot of time reading alone and tends to think independently and keeps his social circle as small as possible. So these are the introvert traits that helps him become so successful. So the suggestions I want to give you guys today is don't care that much about your character is good or not, because after all it's very hard to change and it's no need to change it. And I think we all need to learn to wear the right persona for the right occasions. And last but not least, be happy with yourself. Yes, this is the most important suggestion. And yes, this is my talk today. Thank you all.